Priyanka Srinivasan presenting you your messy minds. Okay, so in this video we are going to see like what are the do's and don'ts of a mother in order to protect and help her fetus grow, that is the growing baby. So let's discuss what is the prenatal environment for the fetus. If you see the mother's womb, that is the female's uterus, that is the main prenatal environment for the fetus. So we'll be discussing on the various factors that could actually possibly affect the growth of the fetus inside the uterus. So first let's move on to the first factor, that is the maternal weight and the nutrition. If you see, the mother has to actually eat for two people, that is, one is her own self and second one is her baby. So whatever she is having, that will be passing on through the placenta and then it will reach out the fetus. So actually if you see, weight gain is very common during this pregnancy period. An average amount of say like 7 to 18 kgs of weight gain during the pregnancy time is very common. But anything that is more than 18 kgs or less than 7 kgs of weight gain is going to be little dangerous for the baby. So for example, let's say if the mother has gained weight more than 18 kgs, like for example 20 or 25 kgs. So what happens is the baby inside will also be growing and it will attain a point where it is overweight. So we cannot perform this normal delivery, so we have to go in for the C-section delivery. And if you see the mothers who are gaining weight below 7 kgs, so proper nutrients will not be received by the fetus. So what happens is these fetus will be malnourished, that is, they will not be to the optimum level of growth. And if you see, sometimes they can have this kind of retarded growth and all these things, and there will be low birth weight babies. So if you see, a proper amount of weight gain should be gained during this pregnancy period. We'll actually discuss on the malnutrition now. So if you see, malnutrition plays a very important role. Why? Because for example, let's say the mother is lacking this vitamin D, and we all know that vitamin D contains this calcium and which actually supports the teeth and bones to be strong and firm and all these things, right? So for example, if the mother is having less and low levels of vitamin D, so what happens is the child, whoever she is giving birth to, will actually face this condition called osteoporosis in their later ages. So osteoporosis is a condition where the bones become porous. That is, say for example, like a stick kind of bone is becoming a thermocol like kind of bones. So that kind of porousness will be there in the bone, which will be very weak and fragile. So that is what I mean by saying osteoporosis. So that can actually happen to the baby after they are growing up. Okay. So malnutrition and the schizophrenia. So schizophrenia is a mental disorder. So we'll discuss on these in later episodes for sure. So now the researchers have found that malnutrition is somewhere related to the schizophrenia. So these two are related. That is to say, for example, like malnourished kids are having schizophrenia. Schizophrenic are actually malnourished or something like this. So it is better that the females or the women who is going to give birth to a baby to test their levels of vitamins and nutrients in their body before giving birth. If it is less or if it's more, then they can actually treat it then and there and then give birth to the babies. So if you see, for example, let's say less amounts of folic acid or foliate, okay, which is vitamin B. So this is actually a condition where if the baby does not receive the proper amounts of folic acids, that is vitamin B, then what happens is the brain will not be completely developed. And I hope that you all would have seen my previous episodes where I would have told you a condition of anencephaly. So there are more chances for the baby to have this anencephalic condition if the mother is lacking this folic acid. The mothers can actually improve their levels of folic acids by eating some green leafy vegetables, peas and liver also. But if you see, liver has to be avoided during the pregnancy, but you can have it during your breastfeeding. So you have to be little sure and conscious like what to have and when to have and all these things. So we'll move on to the next factor, that is the drug intake. So whatever the mother is actually consuming, it will straight away reach to the uterus. So if at all they are taking drug, so these drugs have the capacity to actually cross through the placenta like other gases like oxygen, carbon dioxide and all these things, and reach out the fetus. If at all the parent, that is the mother, is going to have drugs, that is if at all the mother is going to have drugs in her early trimesters, then it's actually going to affect the baby a lot and a lot, because if you see the developmental stages during the baby is very vigorous in the beginning of this trimesters. So in that time, if they are taking drugs, then it's going to be ultimately affecting the baby. So be very sure that you're not taking drugs in the earlier trimesters at least. So there are different types of drugs, if you see, like starting from the medical drugs and then legal drugs like alcohol, nicotine, and illegal drugs like marijuana, cocaine and all these things. So if let's discuss on the first one, that is the medical drugs. So if you see, medical drugs are actually has to be avoided if you ask me, because anything like antibiotics like tetracycline, opiates, or like central nervous system depressants, and there are so many. Okay, so unless and until it is going to help the fetus for its growth, or else if it's going to support the livelihood of the mother, these medical drugs has to be strictly avoided. So unless a doctor is going to prescribe you a medical drug to protect your life or the baby's life, please do not take any kind of medical drugs at all. Okay, so next we'll discuss on the alcohol. So if you see, alcohol has become the major threat for the growing fetus inside the uterus. So if you see, there is a special condition called the fetal alcohol syndrome itself, where if the mother is taking alcohol, then the baby born will be having this low birth weight or retarded growth, or sometimes there can be miscarriages or stillbirth. Their organs will not be properly developed, and all these conditions are there for the alcohol syndrome, that is fetal alcohol syndrome. And if you see, like in India, most of the women actually don't drink alcohol on a regular basis when compared to the other foreign countries, but still this syndrome is present, and whoever is taking alcohol is going to be affected by the fetus. Now we'll see the next one, that is the caffeine. So if you see, caffeine is like more regular for us, and day-to-day life we are actually encountering more with the caffeine, right? So it is present in coffees, teas and all these things. So this caffeine actually has a kind of mixed results with in the research field, if you see, because there are few researchers which say that there is no effect on the fetus even if the mom is having caffeine and all that, and there are few instances where researchers say that caffeine is going to be ultimately affecting the fetus, and there is this kind of a sudden death syndrome that happens in the fetus because of caffeine and all these things. So it is again a confusing results. There are supports for each side of the research. And let's move on to the next drug, like nicotine. So if you see, nicotine has the highest risk of giving like miscarriages during the birth and during the childbearing. So be very careful that you are not using nicotine while you are pregnant. And the other one is like tobacco. So tobacco is like very common in India and in South India basically, because you see most of the women actually chew this tobacco, right? So that will actually give rise to low birth weight babies basically, and sometimes there can be miscarriages also, or stillbirth where the baby actually dies inside the uterus itself, and something like this. And then we'll move on to the next drug, which is the marijuana or cocaine. So these are actually illegal ones, like, but still women or females used to take all these drugs like marijuana or cocaine. So if a person during her pregnancy is taking this cocaine, then there is 100% risk of having the sudden abortion, which is very, very dangerous. So please be very careful. Don't take cocaine during your pregnancy period. And if you see the other one, that is marijuana, if you see, if a person is taking marijuana during her pregnancy time, then it actually leads to the baby who is low birth weight or who is having some retarded growth, or sometimes it can actually face some attention deficit deficits, and sometimes it can be like learning disabilities or something like this. So it's better that you're not going to take any kind of drugs from the time when you start planning for having a baby until you stop breastfeeding that baby. Okay, so it's very much important that you are avoiding all the drugs during that period. At least during that period you can actually sacrifice if you are so much loving those drugs. That's what I can say. So next we'll move on to the maternal illness. So if you see, for normal people who's not pregnant, for normal people, it's very common that we get this common cold and fever and all that, right? But the pregnant woman has to be very, very careful that they are not going to get infected by any of the infections. Let it be even common cold or flu or something like urinal or vaginal tract infections or something like AIDS or HIV. Nothing has to be affected by the mother, because as I told you earlier, whatever the mother goes through, the same will be going through by the baby also. So if for example the mother has got common cold, then what happens is the baby will also be suffering of common cold. So just imagine the case of the baby. It's going to be horrible, right? So please protect yourself from not infected by these infections during your pregnancy. Take utmost care on yourself and then also the baby. Now we'll move on to the next factor, that is the maternal stress and anxiety. So if you ask me, like there is this common tension and worrying during this pregnancy time, which is very, very common in all the females out there, because they'll be very much worried like how their baby will be and will they be properly delivered and how the delivery pain is going to be and all these things. But if you see, this kind of anxiety again has a kind of two types of results, that is the mixed results in the research field. So some researchers say that anxiety is going to in a way help the organization of the brain, and the motor and mental processes will be developed properly when the mother is little anxious. But there are few researchers which actually say that if a person is having anxiety, then the baby is going to suffer from inattentiveness. So there are again some mixed results. We are not sure about it yet. But if you see, normal anxiety is to an extent it is okay to have, but the unusual anxiety which the mother develops, it's going to ultimately affect the fetus. So please do not be over anxious during your pregnancy time, because that will ultimately affect your fetus. So stop being anxious, like overly anxious. Now we'll see the next factors, that is the maternal age. So maternal age actually plays a crucial role in bearing a child, if you see, because there is a proper optimum age where you have to actually get pregnant, and anything above or below that period is going to be dangerous. So when I say like about 30 or 35 years, then there is high risk for miscarriages or like a retarded growth of children or low birth weight or something like some organs are not properly developed like anencephaly and all these things are there. So and also if you see lower than particular age, that is like adolescent females who are giving birth. So if you see the adolescent females, when they give birth to a baby, the baby will be having low birth weight. That is because like the female itself is going to grow in during that period, right? During adolescent period, there are still some developments that are taking place in her own body. So when she's going to take in some nutrients in order to feed the fetus inside her uterus, those nutrients will not be reaching her fetus. In fact, that will be going to her own body to develop her own parts or develop her own body. So it's not going to reach the fetus. So what happens is the fetus will not receive the optimum level of nutrients and it will finally delivered as the low birth weight baby. So that is not the proper age, if you see. So there are sometimes miscarriages that happen during this adolescent females who give birth to babies. So that is also a little risky, right? So if you ask me, the best age to like get pregnant and give birth to a baby is going to be like from 25 to 30 years. Okay, that is the proper age we can say. So within this period, if the female is going to give birth to a baby, then it's going to be fine. Okay. So next we'll move on to the environmental factors. Okay. So there are lots of factors in the environment which are teratogenic. So when I say teratogenic, it means like these factors can actually affect the fetus inside the uterus and cause some kind of defects in the fetus. Okay. So this teratogenic factors can include anything like chemicals or radiations, or sometimes it can be overexposure to the heat or humidity or something like this. Anything that is abnormal is said to be like teratogenic for the fetus. So this can actually lead to a kind of miscarriages or retarded growth, low birth weight babies, stillbirth, or the baby will be dead by like in 1 month or so, something like this. So it's better to stop exposing yourself when you're pregnant to all these radiations and chemicals and all these things. And if you see, there are many females who actually work in this chemical industries, right? So that is actually has to be avoided during the pregnancy period, which will give birth to the normal and happy and healthier baby. Okay, please avoid to go into and expose yourself to the chemicals and all. So if you see, like there are low levels of chemicals like lead and mercury, which can actually lead to asthma, allergy, or sometimes like autoimmune diseases can be developed in the baby or something like this. And low levels of lead can actually lead to this memory, IQ or deficits and all these things. So please be very sure that you're not exposing yourselves to some of these teratogenic factors, okay? And it's very important that the dosage, how much of dosage you are exposing yourself to, or the time limit, like how long you are exposing yourself to, or the interaction of other teratogenic factors along with one, like mixture of two teratogenic factors is there. So many things are there. So be very sure that you're not at all exposing yourself to them, okay? So that is the best way. So there we come to the end of this video. So in case if you guys have any doubts regarding this, you can just put it in the comments and I will be clarifying them and helping you out there. And you might have your friends or your family members who are having this pregnancy time, so you can actually share this video with all of them so that they will have an idea like what are the do's and don'ts during their pregnancy. Okay, so in the next video, I'll meet you with a different content related to psychology. Now, until then, it's bye from Priyanka. Bye.